Right.
Cool.
So over to you whenever you want to start, however you want to do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna have a quick swig of my drink and then yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no
Because
problem, no
I'm
problem.
because I'm a grown up. I've got a strawberry yazoo.
I haven't had one of those for such a long time. I like strawberry yazoo. Is it actually yazoo? It's not like water in it, and
No. It's actual.
it
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the real deal.
yeah. But
Ah, I'm gonna have to.
we've got no paid partnerships, so it's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Not sponsored by strawberry. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean that would be such a great sponsorship.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it just? Yeah. They're
You
more
should you.
or yacht. You don't see yacht anymore.
That's true. Like any of the old school milkshakes, you should
Yeah.
contact them and go, look, as it just as a thing, like a
Come on, guys. Yeah.
well, what have they got to lose, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Move over, Yakult.
yeah, or like Huel or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that would be great. Welcome to another Idea Dimension. I am speaking with John Mabey. That's how you pronounce your last name, right?
It has been for the last 40 years. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good. I always like to check because sometimes I get it wrong. It's my dyslexia. I sometimes just say the
It's
wrong
fine.
wrong
That's
words.
fine.
Um, John, how are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. How
Perfect.
are you, Tom?
I'm fantastic. I'm really good. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about basically everything you do. You as a podcaster, as a film historian, about your book, and lots of TV and film information and
Mm,
tidbits. And let me just show you the book first of all. This arrived about a week ago. I have been
nice.
going through it. Um, let's before we get on to the book and the story behind that. What is it about film and TV that fascinates you so much? Because I think it fascinates all of us. It certainly fascinates me as growing up as a kid. I loved watching TV and films and stuff. But you, as I say, you are a film TV historian. So
Yeah, I
what does
mean,
that mean?
I see a lot of people find TV and film as quite dismissive, and I think there's still that generation of people that see the TV as like the idiot box in the corner of the room,
Yeah,
and and it's just trash and da 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 da. Da. But it's not actually. It's an art form if you think about it.
sure.
In the same way that computer games are an art form and music is an art form, it doesn't matter whether you're watching I Claudius or you're watching a repeat of Family Fortunes. Effort has gone into that to be made,
Yeah,
to be turned into and choreographed to become an art form, to entertain someone for 45 minutes a week or half an hour a week. And that's, and this is right. Okay. At a risk of not sounding like a complete sad sack, didn't have loads of friends growing up. Honestly, I didn't. I can count on one finger how many friends I had growing up. But so TV was there for me. TV was my mate. TV was my friend.
sure.
Whether it be, Doctor Who, Grange Hill, Biker Grove, and then obviously, I was a generation of Saturday morning cartoons, so it's things like Thundercats, Ninja
Yep,
Turtles,
yep.
He-Man, all that kind of stuff. But then, as I started to get older, I was sort of absorbing repeats of old TV. So I was obsessed with things like The Sweeney, The Professionals, The Avengers, Return of the Saint, the Champions, all those kind of 60s, 70s sci-fi action
Yeah.
adventure dramas. I just absorbed them. Um, yeah, and as I sort of got stop me if I'm going too far as well. If you
Yeah,
want
no,
to,
no, it's all.
but yeah, as I got older, I started writing bits and pieces about television, and I used to do sort of uh, English homework at school was about particular programs. So other kids would write about their day at the beach. I would write about a repeat of Rent a Ghost that I watched. And yeah, and it was but my English teachers at school were always very very supportive. They were sort of um, they always sort of said, he writes, but he writes passionately. You know,
Hmm.
um, so he's very passionate about what he's writing about, and Yeah, so and again, as I got older, still I went into the realm of work. I didn't go to college or university. I wasn't overly that fussed about that sort of thing, and so I left school, got a job when I was 16, bummed around in retail, and it's only in sort of like the last 3 or 4 years since COVID. Really, COVID really gave me a kick up the arse. I mean, can we swear on
Sure.
this one? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Fuck
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, I mean, COVID gave me a real kick up the bum, and then some
sure.
ideas sort of started coming along. I developed a podcast with a friend of mine called the 80s Archive Podcast, where we interviewed lots of pop stars from the 1980s or cult figures from the 1980s to talk about what
Cool.
their career was like. And then I didn't go my separate way. We're still firm friends, and the EAP is still a big thing in our lives. But I created a thing called the Channel Hopper Podcast, which was solely on
Mm.
TV. And I'd probably say in the last 2 years, I've really found my lane. You know,
Cool.
there was so many there were so many different tangents of, I want to be an actor, I want to be a tennis player, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be, one of my biggest aspirations when I was a kid was I wanted to work in a video shop, because just imagine
Yeah.
being surrounded by all those movies.
Yeah.
And that dream came true when I was 15 years old and I worked at the local video shop after school.
Well,
It was amazing. That was fun. That was an eye-opening experience. But yeah. And then yeah, so early last year, I wasn't particularly well, so I couldn't leave the house, unfortunately. I was in a real bad way, so I was sat here left to my own devices, surrounded by all my
mm,
beautiful things that you see around you. And I picked up a paperback off the shelf. You know, just any old one, right? Okay, and I was
sure.
obsessed with tie-in novels to TV series and films as well. I
Mm,
like tying novels to films. And I thought, oh, weren't these a great sort of coda to tie us over after the program had been shown?
mm,
We it wasn't going to be repeated if for years or if ever.
sure.
And it's like, or it's a program that you'd only ever heard of in the myths of time because we didn't have Sky Plus and things like that growing up.
Yeah, on demand and all that. Yeah,
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 of
yeah.
course, or YouTube and what have you. So you pick up all these paperback novels and you'd be like, oh, well, it's got Derek Jacobi on the front cover. It's TV related. I like Derek Jacobi. Right, let's find out more. And I was sat here about 18 months ago, a year ago, and I looked at my collection and I thought, there's a book in that. And I wonder
Mm.
if I could make it a little sort of, not a journey as such, but a kind of like a diary entry of all the programs that I'd watched. And as you
Yeah,
can
like a catalogue of
exactly. And
maybe. Yeah.
if you read the book, I do try to make it funny in places. I do try to be
Sure.
quite scathing about certain things. But I looked at the collection I had and I thought, oh, yeah, okay, there's enough there for a book. How wrong I was, Tom.
Right.
There was so in the book is, I think it's 2011 entries in that book.
Right. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and since it was released in May, I've found another 450.
Wow.
Yeah. So there will be a revised edition potentially in about a year's time. But yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And it was costing me a small fortune because obviously I didn't want to drag a lot of the photos off the internet and stuff like that. And I wanted
Yeah.
to own them as well.
Sure.
So I took a real gamble that the book was going to sell well, and I could then put that money towards, or it could pay against the amount of paperbacks that
Yeah.
I had turning up every single day. Much to my wife's dismay, another 27 Jiffy bags have turned up, John. Oh, good.
Great. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was that, and it's done incredibly well. There's talks with me potentially doing something with the BFI, which I'm quite excited about.
Wow, that'd be cool.
I've got a couple of the paperback festivals to do sort of towards the tail end of the year, November time, which will be fun. And do you know what? I don't want to be life's not always about being a big star. I think it's all about finding
Mm.
your lane, you know?
Sure.
And for years I thought, do you know what? I want to be recognized. I want to be known. I want to be that person. I want to be that guy.
Mm.
And actually, when I watered it down, I thought, do you know what? I just want something that I created to be in some people's homes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
And I've done that now, and now I want to do more. But I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I don't want to be revered. I don't want to, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I
Mhm.
do the podcast. I make good contacts. I'm friends with, actors and singers and people like that. But I'm sort of happy doing what I'm doing now. I've really kind of found my lane. And if someone says, "Oh, do you want to come and do a book launch, or do you want to come and do this?" You just get little bones thrown at you. So it's like
Yeah, of course.
I compared an evening in London for a friend of mine who was in a band in the 80s. So I compared that. And like I say, I've got the thing with the book launch coming up in a few weeks' time, which will be good fun. And hopefully the BFI stuff will come off as well, which will be nice.
Sure.
So fingers crossed on that. So it's just nice to be in people's periphery. So they think,
Yeah.
I don't know, people like Matthew Sweet or Toby Haydock, these people that are top, like, lovely guys, but they're top of their game when it comes to sort of being TV and film historians. They really know their stuff.
Mhm.
But Haydock and Sweet are busy. Let's get Maybe in. That's
Yeah,
that's yeah,
sure,
that's
sure.
kind of where I am. But yeah, I'm going to have a sip of my drink because I've been
Yeah,
talking for an
you
unnecessarily
have.
long
You have.
amount of time. Apologies.
No problem. Do you know what? There's so much ideas running through my questions running through my head
Mm,
at the moment, but it is fascinating to hear basically your journey of where you got to where you are right now and sort of the motivation behind it.
mm,
And the thing that's kind of like screaming out to me, and it was by looking and reading the book, is where has the tie-ins of novels and TV or novels and films gone these days? Because in the age that we're in of everything's on demand and you could download a million different films and Netflix and everything else and
mm,
obviously online it's everything's instant and perhaps the idea of finding a film from 1972 isn't so foreign or exotic now because you can just
yeah.
watch it. So I get all that with the internet, but the idea that there has been somewhat, maybe not an explosion, but there has been a renaissance of the comic
Mm,
book and the comic era, and obviously the last 20 years of Hollywood making superhero films.
mm,
And then you've got the renaissance of vinyl and vinyl coming back now. People can hold tangible things. It's just the be it a graphic novel or some kind of tie-in printed thing where in a
mm.
digital age where nothing's real and everything is sort of ethereal, you would think that films, Star Wars, for example, that they would have gone, hold on, we could sell even more Star Wars related stuff. Yes,
Oh,
there's tons of
yeah,
toys, but we could do a graphic novel, a comic, a something in book form,
yeah.
and it might not shift millions, but it would shift hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I mean, with Star Wars, for example, I mean they would milk that cash cow till it's dry, and
You would
and
have thought so.
yeah, and I mean, it's almost like, do you remember the flute in the cantina scene in the first film? Well, we're going to write a book about that flute, and you
Yeah, and
just,
who owns it now and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
exactly, and the journey of the flute, and but. I mean, in answer to your question, where are the tie-in paperbacks now? They're still about. They still exist. They are still happening, and they're happening with films, but not to the degree we once saw.
Hmm.
So um, when we were younger, you would see comedy films being turned into books. So things like Blazing Saddles or Ghostbusters or Harry and the Hendersons, just to like pluck some
Hmm.
mad things out of the air. But now I think it's more kind of like, you know, eerie Netflix dramas with a slight Nordic vibe to them, and that start with a body floating in a lake and someone trying to
Hmm.
pull it out with a garden hose, and it
Sure.
just yeah. And so I think there is still a market out there, definitely. But yeah, as you say, not to the degree that there once was. I'd love to see a resurgence, and something that I've been potentially working on with someone is the potential to do paperback novels of TV programs from back in the day that didn't
Mm.
have tie-ins that
Yeah.
should have done. You
Yeah,
know?
that perhaps weren't massive hits, but they've got a
Yeah,
cult following now, or
yeah,
that sort of thing. When yeah, that's a very good idea, and
mm,
yeah, I'm sure that there's almost like an endless supply of that, or even from the like the 90s or something, some
yeah.
sort of cult TV series, mainly from from the UK because we're both UK, so obviously that's going to be our kind of go to.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, because the only thing I can really think of in the last 20 years that has done it is Lord of the Rings, obviously because
yeah.
book source and it would make sense to do that. But there seems to be lots of other films that are made from books, but maybe it's just not on my radar. But I don't see it. Um,
I see it because I'm forever scouring the internet. So when you
yeah,
type in TV tie-in paperbacks, traditionally the stuff that comes up is the most recent stuff.
yeah,
So it's like, oh, so these things still are, are about, and they're predominantly done by Penguin or someone like that.
sure, sure,
But yeah, so I mean, you do, they are actively still about, but as
okay.
I say, not to the degree that they once were.
Hmm, hmm.
Not at all.
Perhaps that's just a um, symptom of the times of falling book sales and
Well, yeah,
readership
I
and all
mean,
that sort of stuff.
would you actively go out and buy a paperback novel of The Hangover or American Pie, or do you know what I mean? Like you just wouldn't. I just can't imagine people of our. I mean, I'm not sure
Mm.
how old you are, Tom, but I think we're a similar generation.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine us as 13-year-olds would have picked the book up of that. No, we wanted to watch the
True,
DVD and pause it in certain sections.
true,
Um,
true.
but so yeah, I think that's partially the reason as well.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like most things as well. People got to a point where I suppose where when TV started to become a medium, they instantly assumed that the books were on their arse, effectively. You
Mm.
know, um, and when MP3s became a medium, CDs, tapes, and records were on their arse. But
Yeah.
people miss the tangibility, and at a risk of not going too deep with this, I think the world's a bit shit at the moment.
Sure.
And yeah, and in terms of politically, we're all over the place. From a hostile perspective, we're all over the place.
Yep.
And you know what? We just want to cling on to something
Yeah.
that kept us safe. Whether
A
you
simpler
do
time.
yeah, whether you do that from a mental health perspective or just from
Mm.
a nostalgia perspective,
Mm.
it speaks volumes. And yeah, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, you look behind me; everything is just like a museum of my childhood. That is,
Sure.
you know,
I
this is my safe space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I really, really do understand that. That's one of the questions I kind of wanted to sort of ask, and I assume we might get to it later, but now's as good a time as any. It is because we're probably similar sort of age and growing up, and looking back now, I think it's fair to say that it was like the late 70s through the 80s and 90s were like the golden age of television, golden
Mm.
age of certainly British made television and films as well to an extent. But
They were
yeah,
also, sorry to jump in on this, but
yeah, yeah,
I've got to say they were the golden age of exploitation and marketing.
yes,
That's what, those periods were
yeah,
from Star Wars to Power Rangers. That
yeah,
it was buy it now. There's more coming at you. Buy it. Sorry,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it was like.
I mean that's also a very good point, and we could sort of scratch the surface on that because that's quite an interesting topic as well. But you're right. I mean, I again back to youngest childhood memories. Yeah, Master of the Universe, He-Man,
Yeah.
which obviously has just had a uh, theoretical theatre release of the live action version, which I actually thought was pretty good. I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't seen it yet. To be honest
Yeah,
with you, yeah. I mean, God, we're gonna go off on so many tangents. I apologize, but
sure.
the cinema for me of late is just not. It just doesn't excite me like it used to, and it's too
I know what you mean.
expensive. And I don't
It
know.
certainly is expensive.
Yeah, and I don't want to pay 40 quid to listen to someone eat. And
Sure.
so I'll wait for the 4K to come out for 25 quid and sit in the
Yeah.
comfort of my own home. As dreadful
Yeah.
as that sounds, but
No, I agree. I probably will go and see the Odyssey next week when it comes out on the big
yeah,
screen because I kind of think that that would look good on a big screen. But yes, and that's the problem with streaming, isn't it? It's like, well, I
yeah.
can watch it next week from the comfort of my own home. Um, yeah, I'll do that. So it's
I
chicken and
was
egg.
I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed a few years ago. I went to the cinema with a friend to go and watch The Grey Man with Ryan Gosling and
Yeah,
Chris Evans,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it was kind of it was just a generic action film. It wasn't like groundbreaking or anything.
Sure.
Literally the next day, I get a message on my phone from Netflix saying Grey Man has dropped, and it's like I've just spent 45 quid. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
But sorry, you were saying about Masters
Yeah.
of the
But
Universe, yeah.
I remember that as probably some of my earliest childhood memories
Mm.
of playing with the toys and watching the cartoon. And yeah, it's like, and again, I was having this conversation with some friends of mine back a few weeks ago when the film was coming out. We were all kind of like, yeah, we should go and actually watch this.
Mm.
But we were talking about how strong Master of the Universe was as a concept, as a toy line, because it had so many different characters, like
Mm.
the action figures, and obviously it meant that you wanted all of them. And
Fisto.
Fisto, Ram Man,
Yeah.
all of them, Beast Man, um, and each one had its own sort of vehicle and everything, and it it was a perfect recipe to
Mm.
make tons of money. But it came from an artistic vision of it was a story. Someone had to write that. Someone had to come up with these characters and the names, even though some of the names Fisto
Yeah.
and everything else. But it's like again, perhaps we're the wrong generation to talk about. Well, where's the really cool kids toys now linked to a cartoon or animation series. But
Yeah.
it's like you were saying that it was probably the start of the buy it now TV aimed at children, not
Hmm.
your parents. And it you could say, well, it's just a symptomatic of a consumer capitalist society of the 80s
Yeah.
and Reagan economics and all that sort of stuff. But it's
Are you telling me that Thatcher made you buy all the Masters of the Universe toys? Is that what
Well,
it
yeah, probably was a lot of that,
is?
but it was done in with a flair, and it was
Yeah.
done in a creative way. And I kind of feel that the bye say so now
Mm.
is there's no fun in it. It's all like fear. You're afraid of this. You've got to buy this because otherwise you're going to get fucked. You're going to die, kind of thing. When like 40 years ago, it was kind of you need this as a celebration. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
totally
I
get
think that
that.
reflects into art.
Yeah, I think also I think there's a massive market now for adults that collect vintage toys because you have all
Yeah.
these sort of I think it's are they called Super Seven, the company that make all the sort of the articulated Power
Yes.
Rangers and Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles
Yeah.
and things like that. But Tom, three magic words which would have captivated us as kids. It's simple: collect them all.
Yeah.
It didn't give you an option. It wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a question mark.
Sure.
It was an order, and
Yeah.
and you saw that whether it be Thunderbirds Tracy Island, or Ninja Turtles and the Party Wagon,
Hmm.
or even Matchbox cars that had limited edition whatever numbers on them.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Collect them all. You know, it's and it wasn't someone telling you to do that in the advert. It just popped up at the end, and it
Yeah.
even said it on the back of the cards when you bought them as well.
Subliminal messaging. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even subliminal, was it? It was.
Well,
It
yeah,
was. It was.
exactly.
It was a kick in the teeth.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
was
So
blatant.
and also I think there's an autistic perspective as well. You know, and certainly when I was growing up, there weren't labels and there
Yeah,
and so forth for people. And I don't want to get too deep with this, but you know, but it was kind of like, well, you know, I've got to have all four Ninja Turtles. Why would I just
yeah,
have two? Got to
yeah,
have all
yeah.
four.
Two's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane. But you've also got to have the vehicle that they go in, and if you can't have
sure,
then you've got to have the lair that the vehicle goes in, and then you've got to have the lair be under attack from something, and it just spirals. Collect
sure.
them all, Tom. Collect them all.
But in a way, you could say it was a cynical money making ploy. But again, I come back to I draw the comparison with the fact that the creative element of it, because someone had to think these things up
Yes.
versus now where I feel that a lot of pop culture, a lot of TV, film stuff,
Mm.
literally it's, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to off the top of my head, say like the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
You know, massive films, yeah, paid a lot of money. I don't know where they are at the moment. Is it seven or eight?
I have
I don't know
no
if they're going to.
idea.
Yeah, exactly. You have no idea. I have no idea.
When did Tokyo Drift come out? Because I think that was the last one I saw. I think it was the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the second one, and that's probably about 20 something years ago.
Dear God.
Exactly. Exactly. But so we don't know, we don't care. But there isn't, as far as I'm aware, you tell me, there isn't like a tie-in novel with any of the Fast and Furious
I don't
films.
believe so.
And I
No.
don't think there's a toy line either. Do you know what I mean? And
I think
there isn't.
I think there's a couple of Hot Wheels cars, but
Oh, is it?
again,
Okay.
they're not aimed at kids. They're aimed at us. To
Yeah.
they sit on a. But then, I mean, just as an example, right? VR Troopers from the mid 90s. It was a sort of like follow up to Power Rangers almost. Yeah.
Okay.
And not a particularly great show, but I remembered it as a kid, and I got this carded action figure and
Yeah.
what have you. Now, is this action figure? Is it mass-produced plastic nonsense made in a factory in China, or is it a piece of art?
I mean,
Uh,
that's quite a deep question.
yeah, exactly. But one man's mass-produced plastic piece of nonsense made in a factory in China is another man's piece of art.
Well,
And
I mean, Plato was regarded as just a homeless troublemaker, and causing problems. And I'm sure you could do a degree in Oxford or Cambridge on the classic philosophers these days as well. So yes, I mean anything that requires effort and imagination,
mm,
you could say is art.
yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so.
It's
I mean,
as
yeah,
as
it's
much art than as Tracy Emin.
yeah, yeah, and it's are you telling me that not you per se, but you just to the wider public, does a guy who makes a schematic drawing or a blueprint for a skyscraper, has he put less effort in than Picasso or Salvador Dali, or
Sure.
has he put more effort in but doesn't get renowned and respected because obviously his schematic drawing or blueprint of this massive skyscraper, which is going to be an eyesore for hundreds of years to come, doesn't sit in an art gallery.
Yeah.
It's such a we've gone deep, haven't we, Tom? We've got a
I
bit
know,
deep.
and quicker than I thought we would.
Keep it light. Keep it
But
light.
yeah,
You know?
sure. Okay, so who's the sexiest toy?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. No.
Katara from Thundercats.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Um,
100%,
sure.
100%. Yeah, closely followed by probably the sorceress from Masters of the Universe.
She was pretty hot.
Yeah, she was. She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got She-Ra.
She-Ra, but She-Ra struck me as hard work. I think she'd,
Yeah.
yeah, she just,
She'd be
yeah,
demanding.
she would be quite demanding.
Would be, yeah.
Yeah, she's, and I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, and she,
Sure. Sure. That's definitely one of the clips we're gonna produce. Um,
Brilliant.
but but yeah, you were saying that TV meant a lot to you, and same with me. Like growing up, it's interesting, isn't it? Because as you said, there definitely is a generational thing where yeah, they referred to TV as the idiot box, or it's dumbing down the population and blah blah blah.
Mm,
But I heard someone else mentioning a few weeks ago about The Simpsons. Obviously, The Simpsons being very long running,
hmm
I think the longest running continuous TV series, and how the first whatever 10 series were award winning and very very
Yep.
well regarded and sort of being analyzed as in like
Yeah.
brilliant um, TV, and the later ones not so much.
Mm,
And their explanation to why that might be was the writers of the first 8 to 10 seasons of The Simpsons would have been people that grew up in the 70s and 80s watching television
mhm.
and films. And they absorb all this content coming out and they kind of regurgitate it. So little in jokes with, you had to have watched a Doctor Who episode
Yeah.
or something like that to get what they're talking about.
It was a family show. It was a family show, and it was aimed at 8 to 80 quite easily.
Yeah,
And what I don't understand about, I mean, I adore The Simpsons. It's probably in my top five favorite programs of all time. And I'll still watch the latest stuff on Disney Plus or what have you. But
mm,
who's it aimed at? That's what I want to know. Is because it's certainly I can't imagine, not because of its content so much, but I
mm,
can't imagine plonking an 8-year-old down now and saying, right, Simpsons season 32 or whatever we're on,
yeah,
enjoy, because I don't think they would, you know.
sure.
But
Well,
you
I mean
took
that's
8-year-old you and me and watched Last Exit to Springfield from season 4, we'd be like,
yeah.
yeah, dental plan, you know,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
When you say that, I know exactly
yeah,
the episode.
the pencil going in Homer's bum cheeks, the Lisa playing classical gas on the guitar because she's got her braces. All of that is
Yeah.
just iconic stuff. The
Well,
monorail, Mr. Plow, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, but that's exactly their point. As in, like the original writers of that absorbed all this other stuff. But
Yeah.
fast forward 20, 25 years, and now the writers of that haven't grown up
No.
with the same stuff. They've grown up with The Simpsons. Do you
hmm
know what I mean? So they're like before they could reference a like a Japanese black and white samurai movie,
Mm.
but the more ones in the more like last 4 or 5 years can reference Simpsons. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that's what they grew up with,
Yeah.
and it's kind of diminishing returns, isn't it? It's
Mm.
just it's an interesting. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that sort of tells us about the quality of art or TV or films in the future. I'm
Mm.
not sure, but I think it's um, I think it's interesting, and it causes a debate like we are having now. So why why do you think? I mean, perhaps we've already covered it. Okay? Let me before I ask that question. Do you feel that TV is not as um, creative or not as good as it once was at the moment in terms of what's being produced? Or
Um, yeah, I don't want to risk sounding like one of those people that goes, it's not as good as it used to be.
sure, sure,
But I think anything that's on for a long period of time will get watered down, but also will pick up its generation of followers along the way.
yeah,
So long running things like EastEnders or Casualty and stuff like that, I think
mm,
it will pick up, and people just pick up from where,
yeah,
but TV's a bit more disposable now, and it's not as magical as it once was in terms of the fact that if you
mm,
missed something, you missed it, or you had to
yeah,
frantically open a pack of 6 VHS tapes that were wrapped in the most tightest of plastic ever and quickly get them into the thing because you've realised that Jaws 2 is on BBC 2 at 8 o'clock. You
Sure.
know, and it may not be on again for another 5 years.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it. I think there's some great telly around today. I think Bookish is great fun. I think Bookish is a brilliant series.
Sure.
I did enjoy Killing Eve. I thought Killing Eve was very, very good. I think The Detectorists is one of the most wonderful.
I don't know that.
Oh, so okay. Detectorists is a comedy series all about middle-aged men and women going metal detecting,
Oh wow.
and it's Mackenzie Crook and Toby Jones.
Oh really? I've
Yeah,
not. That's not been on my radar at
has
all.
it not at all? Wow, it was massive. And yeah, 3 series, 2 specials. Um, and I think it's all on Netflix actually, or it's certainly on the iPlayer.
Okay.
But it is just beautiful. It is just beautifully put together. So yeah, and they recently did. It's not a spin-off, but it's the same people again. A TV series called Small Profits, which was on BBC
Okay.
earlier this year. So yeah, I think there is TV available, but the problem is this. You had when we were growing up, you had 3 major networks giving it a go. You had the BBC, ITV, and Channel 4.
Mhm.
And now you've got Netflix in on the game, Amazon, Apple. They're all making their own independent
Sure.
programs. And you have to subscribe to Apple TV to get this particular program. And you have to subscribe to Amazon to watch this program. But we're already charging you £100 a year for your Prime membership. But do you want to pay £3 more and not watch the adverts? You bastards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I find myself a lot of the time just watching YouTube, older programming on YouTube.
Same. Same.
You know,
Same here. Yeah.
I mean, I've got stacks and stacks of DVDs and Blu-rays, and I'll stick those on quite happily. God, I sound like a really grumpy old man. Um, but yeah, I don't. There's some great telly around. The problem is it's on such a high turnover. It's on such a quick turnover.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like you get invested in something, and it's like, oh, it's cancelled. Oh,
Yeah.
that one's
Yeah. Yeah.
cancelled. Oh, it's left on a cliffhanger. The pregnant woman's just been shot outside the supermarket. And the series has been amazing up until this point. Yeah, we're not bringing it back. We've decided against it. We're going to go a different way with it. And what and that didn't happen that often.
Yeah.
And I think things are being pumped out ad nauseum. And it's the same as I mean, I don't want to necessarily go down this route, but superhero movies as well. Like
Of course.
I was totally on board with the first Iron Man, which came out 19 years ago this year. Robert
I mean
Downey Jr.
that's crazy that it's
Yeah,
19 years,
yeah.
but yeah.
And then I was just like, it's Captain America 5 versus Thor Ragnarok up the
Hmm.
junction 11, and you just go, it's just a. I'm not gonna do a Martin Scorsese and say they're not cinema. They're not cinema. They're not proper cinema because they are. They're movies, right? At the end of the day, they
Yeah.
are. They are the same. They are this generation Star Wars. That's fine.
Sure.
Um, but it's just like they're just one special effects wank fest after another. You know.
I mean, same with the Transformers. The first Transformers movie when it came back out, I went to see it in the cinema. I
Yeah.
think I actually even went on my own just because I wanted to see it
Yeah.
that day, and other people didn't want to
Shia
go the
LaBeouf
same day.
and Megan Fox. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. They're perfect.
Um,
Perfect on-screen pairing. Like, yeah.
yeah, and I thought it was really good, but it's yeah. So let's release 7 more, and each one is even more
Mhm.
jump cuts and more CGI, and it's just bathed in it, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm bored now. I don't know
Collect
what's
them
going on.
all. Collect them all. Yeah.
Yeah, but they weren't even saying collect them all. That's
Uh,
that's the crazy thing. But yeah, and it's the thing that disappoints me with that is you would think for their own. I mean, who are we to judge very wealthy people that make films? But you would think that they would have their own. When I say they, I mean Michael Bay and these people and anyone in the whole machine, or be it the Avengers or or Supergirl or whatever, Superman,
Yeah.
you think they themselves would be like, are we making shit?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like we've done one now. Like, do we want to make another one? Another third? And someone is going, yes, another 100 million, come on. And you'd be like, at some point, it's like, I just want to do something different.
Yeah.
I would think, but hey,
Yeah.
what do I?
Well,
But
I think it speaks volumes, but unfortunately, it's films like that that are keeping the cinema industry alive.
sure,
Because there are sort of indie films or merchant ivory films or things like that kind of get lost and they're pumped out of the local Odeon for one day only, and they're on a Wednesday at 3 a.m. Just because every other screening has got Thor Ragnarok 7 or something going on, and you just think, oh,
yeah,
yeah. So they do serve a purpose, but I see them as a very expensive machine, a
sure.
tool just keeping the cinema industry afloat. And I get a bit precious with film as well, and I get cross with people who who I don't get cross with someone if they say they don't like something. I don't care because art is
Mm.
subjective.
Yeah,
If you think Jaws 4: The Revenge is a masterpiece, you own that, pal. Own it.
sure.
That's your bag all day long.
It's a bold
Um,
statement, but yeah,
yeah, yeah, but I will defend to the to the death your right to say it. But then there's you know where was I going with this? Where was I going? Where was I going? Where was I going? Yeah, so people who say to you, um, uh, no, or you say to someone that you don't particularly like something, and they just turn on you.
yeah.
So I found it amazing that loads of people said, Sinners was like one of the greatest movies of this year, an absolute blockbuster, a masterpiece,
Mm.
and it spoke to a generation. And I watched it, I thought it was a lot of crap. Genuinely, I did. I thought this is a
I,
bag of bollocks.
I thought it was quite boring.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
nonsensical, and
Mm.
didn't serve a purpose. Not that every film has to serve a purpose. I mean, did Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit serve a purpose? No. Um,
Sure.
you know,
I know.
but
I do know what you mean, though. I like that compared to, say, Blade, the Wesley Snipes film. I mean, doesn't compare.
no,
You
no.
know, but that wasn't hailed as like some kind of high watermark,
Mm.
even though in its own way it probably was.
But you
But
also you need to people who are going to the cinema, they want to be entertained. They don't
of
necessarily
course,
want to be challenged. And so you look
mm.
at something like Tenet, which came out, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now. I think it was in that COVID haze it came out.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
Um,
2001, maybe. Yeah,
yeah. And it was like, you know, oh yeah, I've been to the cinema to see it 3 times because it's such a layered, piece of. No, mate, it's because you didn't understand it. That's why. That's why you went
yeah.
to go and see it 3 times. And it's
I
kind of
mean,
like, no, I want to see I don't know, I want to see a group of mercenaries go and get a rich Arab out of a jail and, and take him back to their base. That's the kind of. I grew up on Con Air and James Bond and Face Off and
sure,
you know.
sure. But they're not even my growth. And again, we're going to sound like just like two old moaning men. But
Because
it's
we
like
are.
because we probably are.
Yeah.
But we they don't even make Face Off anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
they don't make those films
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Like literally, yeah, Face Off or um, I'm trying to think of something like
Well,
Heat.
Die Hard. Heat.
Yeah, like I don't know if that would get made anymore
No.
because it's not a superhero film. It's not something that they can easily make into like a spin-off Netflix series.
But there
Um,
are there are films that really wuss out as well, and that's what really annoys me. So like the Meg films that came out. I mean,
yeah,
they're very much they're candy floss for the eyes, right?
sure,
And it's Jason Statham, one of the greatest actors of his generation. I think
100%.
100%. Yeah, he's got such range. But I'm sorry, I'm seeing a film about a giant shark that's been awoken from the depths
Mm.
from a million plus years ago. I want to see blood, guts, and carnage. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
see blood, guts, and carnage. You see the shark. You see a few people. People get eaten, but they get eaten whole, and there's no limbs floating around. And it's
Yeah.
just like, don't make them a 12 because you're trying to appease everybody.
Yeah.
And
Large
it
audience. Yeah.
exactly, and it was the same with White House Down, which came out with Channing Tatum a few years ago. I
Oh,
thought,
that's awful. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, this will be good. This will
Yeah.
be like the old days with, he's running around in a white vest and he's got a Uzi and it's going to be,
Sure.
and it wasn't. They wussed out on it, and the biggest culprit for that would probably be something like Skyscraper, which came out with Dwayne Johnson. Again, I
Yeah.
think in that sort of COVID haze
Yeah.
of, it's terrorists taking over a skyscraper,
Mhm.
but they rated it 12. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, I want to see people get shot in the head. I want to see throat slit. I want to see, this isn't a family movie. You can't make a family film about a skyscraper being taken over. You make
Sure.
Die Hard or you fuck off. And
You.
that, you can use that as a soundbite. But it's
I. They don't make 18 certificate films anymore. Like,
if they
or
do their horrors, their year. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even think the last few Scream films got an 18. I know the Terrifier films did, but
Yeah.
they're just unpleasant for the sake of being unpleasant.
Sure. Sure.
I'm a huge horror fan, but they were
Yeah.
they would
That's
they
a
would
different
they were just
thing.
nasty for the sake of being nasty, which I
Yeah.
didn't care for.
Sure. Sure.
Mm.
Um. I don't know if you ever. I don't know if you saw the Toxic Avenger remake last
Oh,
year.
with oh, I can't remember his name now. The guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the little guy.
Yeah.
That was kind of okay. It's probably not as good as the original, but that at least was kind of full on.
Yeah, but where was the
Um,
publicity around it?
I mean, true.
Yeah. It completely fell under the radar. I don't think any cinemas in the UK had it on for longer than a day, you know.
No, I mean I saw it when it was on probably Sky, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That I guess they felt that they couldn't market,
Yeah.
but that would be great as a tie-in novel.
Yeah. No,
You know?
I think 2 and 3 were done as paperbacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'd have to look
Oh,
into
yeah.
that, but I'm pretty sure they were and they're quite sought after.
I was going to say like surely they're collector's items then
Yeah,
because
yeah, they are.
like
Yeah.
you're not going to find that like everywhere again. I'm
No.
going to search for that 'cause just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. They might have been US only pressings, but I think
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Mm, mm.
Like, what would you love to see as a tie novel for a film or TV that hasn't hasn't ever had one?
Well, two things spring to mind for television. Not so much film because I have to be careful because it might very well have been done as one, and I've
Sure.
and you'll get one of those Nevilles or Malcolms in the comments going, I think you'll find in 1996.
Sure.
So there was a TV series with Kenneth More which came out in the late 70s called An Englishman's Castle, which was basically set around what life would have been like had the Nazis won the war.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of drama. But what
Right.
I would have loved to have seen would have been a lovely sort of slightly beaten up 1979 paperback with Kenneth More on the front, and
Mm,
and it would have been rife for it.
mm.
And the other thing is an 80s sci-fi series called Star Cops, which came out in the mid 80s, UK series. Only
Don't
had
know that.
yeah, only had one series. Became a bit of a cult sensation. A bit
Hmm.
groundbreaking when it first came out. Got the front cover of the Radio Times and so forth, which was quite a
Okay.
big deal. Terrible soundtrack by Justin Hayward, though. Awful theme tune. Um, but I would
What was the
love to.
premise?
They were cops in space.
Cops in space.
In
Like,
space, there, yeah. It's like an Alan Partridge, like monkey tennis. It's
yeah.
um, but yeah,
Did
but it
they
had
have any crimes in space?
quite a few. Yeah, intergalactic federations trying to take over rogue planets, and but yeah, it was cheap, it was cheerful, but it was fun. But
I'd
that
watch that.
yeah, but it was. I mean, yeah, try getting a copy of the DVD for less than £100 though. It got deleted
Really?
pretty sharpish. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I would love to have seen those as paperbacks. They would have been yeah, they would have been amazing. They would have been amazing.
again, that's something else that I kind of want to try to dig out. I mean, is there like clips online?
What, Star Cops?
Yeah.
Tons. Yeah, there's loads. There's
I think
loads.
I
Yeah,
need
there was
to.
a BBC Four about 15 years ago now. It's probably longer. But BBC Four did a thing called The Cult of, and then they did a thing
Right.
like The Cult of Blake Seven or The Cult of
Yeah.
Tripods. They did one called The
Yeah.
Cult of Star Cops. And it's like
Okay.
a half hour program where they interview all the guest stars and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
stars. So if you source that out, that would give you
Okay. I
a
mean,
tip.
again, it
Yeah.
sounds like something like like the film Mindhorn, that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
vibe.
It is. It is. It's. Yeah. It is. But yeah, mind horn in space. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, that sounds really cool. I would love. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I would love some sort of tie-in book with the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah.
I think that could work because there'd be a huge fan base for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they. I mean, maybe they have done that. I don't know.
Quite
But
possibly.
I don't know if you ever um come across. Again, this was probably about 20 years ago, and I've only recently rediscovered it. It was literally I've just forgotten it. It's Matt Berry, like early Matt Berry.
Oh, Garth Marenghi's Dark
Yeah, that's what.
Place.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
books have just been released of that this year, actually,
they
and like,
have
yeah.
really.
Matthew Holness, who was Garth Marenghi,
Yeah.
has he went out on tour as Garth Marenghi.
Yes, I think I did
Um,
did see
yeah,
that.
and he released a couple of books. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, I don't know what they're called. I think it's something like getting into the psyche of Garth Marenghi,
Sure.
things
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, he did do a couple of books.
Oh well, I'll have
Yeah.
to research that.
Mm.
That's pretty crazy. Um, would you like to talk about like your podcast and how you sort of started that and who some of your favorite guests have been, or if you've got any future people coming up?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, as I said earlier, the Channel Hopper podcast came out of the back of the '80s Archive podcast, where I kind of
Hmm.
went, I want to do something with TV.
Yeah.
But I've spoken to loads of people. I spoke to Nigel Pavaro, who was Terry Duckworth in Coronation Street for 30
Wow.
plus years. I spoke to Kathy Shipton, who played Duffy in Casualty. I spoke to Nicola Bryant, who was Perry in Doctor Who for the Sixth Doctor's tenure. Uh, I spoke to a guy called Robin Sebastian, who's an actor, but he also played Kenneth Williams on stage doing the Hancock's half hours.
Oh, okay.
He's a lovely guy and become a friend as well, which is really nice. Just had Brian Croucher on the show. He was famous for playing Ted in EastEnders for Yonks,
Right.
and he was in Blake Seven, and he'd done Doctor Who and the Sweeney and lots of other things like that. So yeah, I mean, what I kind of do is I get the guests on to talk about their career. Great opportunity for them to talk about what's coming up next in their lives, or sometimes they haven't got anything coming up next. They're just happily retired and they want to have a chat. And I get them to bring with them 3 TV themes that mean something to them, which we play on the show, and we also ask them to bring 3 films with them that they get to talk about, and we play
Hmm.
clips of on the show. And then we, whilst discussing their career and what they're up to, and I
Sure.
fill that with clips from bits and pieces that they've been in or done,
Cool.
and there's no limitations on it because it's all me. It's all
Yeah.
edited by me. It's all released by me. So if an episode is 2 hours, it's 2 hours. If you don't want to
Sure.
listen to it, fuck off. Uh, you know. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it's been great. It's been really, really good. I've made some excellent contacts, spoken to some really lovely people, and it was all kind of about piecing together the gaps of my childhood as well, and having
Yeah.
questions that need answering. Because I've always been fascinated by actors and actresses. You could sit there and go, "Oh yeah, that's Dustin Hoffman, or that's Stephen Graham, or that's Robert De Niro, or what have
Hmm.
you." I just gave Stephen Graham some lip service. He's in everything. But no, he's brilliant. But I wanted to talk to, I don't know, I'm watching a soap or something, or I'm watching a drama like Casualty or
Hmm.
Bergerac, and it's like, No, I want to speak to that guy at the bar who had 3 lines.
Yeah,
That's who I want to talk to because that person's got a story to tell. We know
100%.
we know John Nettles has got a story to tell, playing Bergerac and Midsummer Murders, and da, 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 da. We
Mm,
know he's got a story to tell, but he's told his story a million times.
sure.
The guy at the sailing club who's got has had 8 lines, or the man at the bar, or guy
Mm.
in waiting room with eye patch.
Yeah,
No, I want to hear your story. That's because some of the most fascinating things have come from just jobbing actors.
yeah.
Like today, I found out that the actor, literally, I found out today that the actor Darren Nesbitt, who was in Where Eagles Dare with Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton,
Mm.
um, him and his brother started a record shop, um, which then became Our Price.
No way,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, and it's like I don't quite know whether they got bought out and then the other company named it Our Price, or
Sure,
they
sure.
named it Our Price and sold it, but it's just like, yeah, he was in Where Eagles Dare and The Prisoner and Doctor Who, and it's like, wow, okay, um, yeah, so um, I really, yeah, like I said to you earlier, I found my lane. I really found I've
Mm.
and I love doing the Channel Hopper podcast. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
collect them all. Um,
Listen to them all
listen to them
three
all.
times.
Yes. But yeah, so that gets released every Friday at 7 a.m. On Spotify and Apple. Uh, and sooner or later, I'm going to try and do studio-based ones. I want to sort of
Mm.
get face to face with people, invite people
Sure.
down, but it's all down to a monetary thing at the end of the day, really, isn't it?
100%. And planning and scheduling in. I mean, the fact that you do it every Friday is amazing because since I've started doing the idea dimension, um, I've had a few cancellations, and then a week becomes 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and it's very difficult to
Yeah,
keep pumping out content. So the fact that you're doing every Friday is amazing.
mm,
It's a lot of hard work goes into doing this and
yeah,
researching it and finding guests and stuff. So
yeah,
that's amazing. Um, and I think it's interesting, isn't it? Saying about finding out the story about someone who's in the back of a scene of an episode with 3 or 4 lines, because therein lies the gold. Therein lies, I say, the unspoken tale of, at one point they probably had aspirations to become a famous actor and
yeah,
actress. They wanted to be in movies. Maybe they were in a movie, but it just flopped and didn't get massive, and
yeah,
they were on Bergerac for an episode,
yeah.
and then life took over, and but they went in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways. And yeah, that's actually much more interesting, isn't it, than the star that has just been on TV for 30 years and different
Yeah.
characters, and everyone knows what they're up to
And they're
because
also they're obligated to say what by producers or managers,
yeah,
and maybe not John Nettles because he's pushing 80 and probably doesn't care that much.
sure,
But even you see people like David Jason, who's 86 and still gets wheeled out to talk about the same old stuff that he did 40, 50 years ago.
sure.
But it's like I interviewed a guy called Gordon Warnack, who's a wonderful actor, really nice guy, and he was opposite. He was the opposite lead in My Beautiful Laundrette with Daniel Day Lewis.
Oh wow.
Um, and he says, yeah, but a lot of people don't talk about that. They want to know about the one episode of Only Fools and Horses I did in 1988. And you just think that's the gold. That's the gold there. That's where you
Yeah.
sift. And yeah, he had some fantastic stories. I mean, I had one guest. I won't say the name. Um, but off air, he would go. He would talk about certain actors and go, "Yeah, he was a cunt. He was a cunt. She was a bitch. What a fucking asshole he was." And you just be like, "Wow, okay." Um, and yeah, I mean, I interviewed one actor who, and I said to him, he was in a. All right, this is all I'm going to say. He was in a sitcom. an ensemble piece sitcom,
Hmm.
right? Um, and I said, well, what about, if I was to do a reunion piece, get you down to get you down to the local theatre and we can do a Q&A and this, that, and the other.
Mm.
And on air, he was going, yeah, 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 that sounds like a good laugh. And then off air, he went, that'll never happen. I said, why is that? He said, and I won't say the name, but he went, he's a cunt. And I'm like, oh my God, sorry, I've dropped the C bomb a few times. You might get
Sure.
demonetized now. I apologize.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not monetized, so don't
oh,
worry.
okay, yeah. But I was just like, wow, okay, that's where the
Right.
gold is. That's where
Yeah.
the gold is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
100%. I mean, I'm sure they are. That's the thing, isn't it? It's almost like if you're fairly well known, and not even like really well known, I don't mean like a superstar, but just kind of like you could make a living out of saying
Someone would
being an actor.
recognize you if you walked into the
Yeah.
butcher's. Yeah, yeah.
Whether they have to be that way just to get where they are, or they're just used to it and they're kind of in their own bubble. But
Mm,
yeah, I've met some, yeah, I wouldn't even call them famous people, but reasonably um, famous people in film and acting and stuff. And yeah, they're more than often kind of maybe not complete assholes, but you just kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it. You're kind of very
mm,
standoffish. You're very kind of, yeah, yeah, what do you want kind of attitude.
mm.
And whether that just kind of lifestyle um, brings that into
Yeah, yeah.
reality, I don't know.
I
And
mean,
maybe
I'm,
that's picking
I,
up on other people like that.
yeah. I mean, I met David Prowse, who was Darth Vader and the Green Cross Code Man.
Yeah,
And lots of people said, "Oh, he's a real sweetheart. He's a gentle giant, and he's this, that, and the other." I thought he was a complete arsehole. He was
sure,
so he was so rude to me. But then,
really.
but then you have to think to yourself, you don't know what kind of day these people have had, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so you just go, and I've interviewed some reasonably big names, and
Hmm.
it's very sort of clenched bottom time when you're interviewing them, and they and
Sure.
they they pop up on the Zoom screen as you and I now are now,
Yeah.
um, and you go, do you want to be? Would you be like to know as Mr. Smith, or can I call you
Mhm.
Keith, or da 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 da, and you just go, fuck, but you do it for 20 seconds, and then all of that anxiety just drifts
Yeah,
away, just drifts away. And you
sure.
just think, wow, yeah. And some of these people have become my friends, and
Sure, sure.
they've asked me to do work for them. Bits of sort of editing and so forth, which I do. Um, excuse me. So yeah, I just think they're human beings like us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Everyone has good days and bad days, and they're tired or
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's directors have to direct for the first time somewhere. At some point they're not like superstars, and they're going to make their first film at some point and
Yeah.
have an actor that they've looked up to, and they're shitting themselves.
Yeah.
And but fast forward 20 years, and they've won an Oscar, and now they're suddenly the big deal. So same
Yeah.
same with actors and everything else. Um, yeah, it's yeah, they're just human beings, and
I mean, I've got more neck than a swan when it comes to interviewing people now, and
sure,
and I'll come a cropper on that one day, and I'll openly admit that. But I'm very good at gauging people. So if I think, oh, this
sure,
guy's a bit of a cheeky chappy, I'll be a bit of a cheeky chappy.
yeah,
And or if a guy, but you have to massively respect boundaries as well. If
hmm,
someone I interviewed Clive Mantle, who was in Casualty for years, and he's a fantastic actor, brilliant actor, and he was going to be playing the part of Nuclear Man in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, and
wow,
all of his stuff was filmed and this, that, and the other. And then I think the story goes that they used his voice. But he was chopped, and they got another actor in. They got some sort of Austrian bodybuilder to play the part.
yeah,
Um, but they kept his voice, and I don't think they paid him or they didn't credit him.
Oh, wow.
And he said, to be honest with you, John, I don't really want to talk about that, you know. And I
Hmm.
already knew the story, but he said,
Right,
I
right.
don't want to talk about that. I feel like I've talked about that enough. And you go,
Yeah, sure.
fine, mate. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
We've got, we've got Casualty, Party, Vicar of Dibley, One Foot in the
Mhm.
Grave. You've got a healthy career that people can get stuck
Yeah,
into.
yeah, yeah.
That was a blip on the system. And I find it I find it wonderful that when some actors are really humble in terms of they do their first ever gig was an episode of Doctor Who in 1983,
Mm.
and they're more than happy to talk about it for 2 hours. And you go,
Sure.
wow, you were in Star Wars or massive Hollywood movies, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to talk about a bit of cheap BBC television you did 40 plus
Sure.
years ago.
But it's going to mean something to them. It's going to mean a lot to
Yeah.
them. That's where they got
I've
started. Yeah.
I've never understood actors that have been dismissive of their careers because without
Mm.
that they wouldn't be where they are.
Yeah.
Necessarily. If you really look at the sort of butterfly effect of things, if they hadn't done that episode of Doctor Who, would they have then been seen to play someone in Casualty for 12 episodes, who then went on to a soap for 25 episodes, who
Sure.
then got a part in a film? And it's all a rich tapestry. If they don't want to talk about it because they don't remember it or they didn't have a particularly great time, fine.
Mm.
But if they don't
Yeah.
want to talk about it because, oh, well, it's just shit, cheap TV that I did back in the day, that's not on. That's not right. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Because, well, one, why did you do it in the first place? And two, you're right. It's like that was your
Yeah.
jumping off point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I get perhaps people are embarrassed by their earlier works if they've gone on to do something in their eyes more important. But
Mm.
that's vanity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, what would you say is your favorite TV show from your childhood up until now, particularly British made TV, but
Oh God. I mean,
American as well.
Doctor Who, 100%. Or always, Doctor Who's always been there for me. And I'm friends with
What's
Lee.
your opinion of it now, at the moment? Because it's kind of
Oh
in
God, I have to be so careful.
limbo.
I have to be so careful because we live in a world where there's no mid ground and there doesn't
Mm.
seem to be room for discussion like two sensible human beings are having right
Sure.
now. You're either a snowflake or a Nazi,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
and sometimes both, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Ironically, because you could believe in or have 100% faith in 99.999% recurring of what that person of what this section believes, but if you're 0.1% over here, then that's where you belong. And
Mm.
it's just like it doesn't make any sense to me. It's mad. So I think Doctor Who has always been pretty magical. It's always been it's a wonderful program. It can be anything. It was anything. Um, but I think it became watered down certainly after Matt Smith left.
Yeah,
I thought Matt Smith was wonderful. Out of the sort of the newer Doctors, I thought he was possibly the best.
sure.
Um, he was almost sort of Maserial to a degree,
Mm.
uh, and he brought a real charm, and he was kind of old and young at the same time, and
Yes, yeah, yeah,
and that was what was wonderful. And I think when Capaldi came in, and that's no detriment to him. Again, I think it's when Doctor Who is bad. 99% of the time, I think it's down to writing. It's nothing to do with the initial person at the helm.
yeah,
Yeah. Because every single Doctor Who actor has brought something to the role, you know?
yeah.
Um, and look, I'm not someone who rides the woke bus, but I know the difference between right and wrong. And I will
Sure.
stand up for people's rights, and I will, I will fight someone's corner. I've always been on the side of the downtrodden, you know.
Mm.
Um, but there are situations where things possibly go too far,
Sure.
and politics is almost like a pendulum, and it's like agenda, agenda. Have more agenda. This has got an agenda. This has got a message. And it's like, no, fuck off. Just tell a story. Just have the TARDIS
Yeah.
lands. The TARDIS lands. There's a bit of a battle going on. The Doctor finds a dead body. Then he has a gun pointed at him. His companions go missing. A story unfolds.
Mm.
That's it. That's all you need. A world in peril, and the Doctor needs to sort it. And one thing I noticed, especially with the Jodie Whittaker era, it was
Yeah.
like, right, you're doing Trump this week, are you? Because the big baddie was an American businessman. You're
Yeah.
blatantly doing Trump. The
Yeah.
following week, it was a major corporation where they vaporize you if your toilet breaks are too long. Oh, you're doing Amazon this week, are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're not stupid. It's really sort of dumbing down. But if you look at some of the episodes, they would have been perfect in the Sylvester McCoy era as well, to a degree.
Yeah.
They would have been great stories for the Seventh Doctor and Ace.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm all about fighting people's corners, and I'm all about being
There's
on.
there's doing it ham-fisted, and then there's doing it with, again, skill
Well, it's
and
not. It's not
nuance.
ham. I wouldn't say it's ham-fisted. I wouldn't say it's ham-fisted. I'd say it's a. It's almost lazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
lazy.
That's a better description. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you've taken something. Oh, Trump's a bad man. Yeah, he's a prick. Yeah, yeah, he's a bit of a prick. And but it's just laziness. An
Mhm.
episode of Doctor Who is not going to bring down Trump, and it's not going to make people go, well, Trump's awful, isn't he? Because I watched that episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Just tell a fucking story.
Th-
Tell a
that that
story.
that's the pomposity of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the yeah. Again, kind of comes back to the point I was making, we're both making about The Simpsons, and it's kind of, if whoever's contributing towards that brainstorming session of that episode and the writing of it and coming up with all this and storyboarding it, are they doing it just because they're like, oh, we've got no fucking ideas, we all agree Trump's a cunt, let's do that?
Mm.
Or is it they're like, I know this will like really fucking stick it to the man, and yeah, like everyone's gonna love what we're doing by this,
Mm.
and yeah, are they believing that they're bringing down like Western capitalism
Yeah.
with this episode
Yeah.
that the
But
BBC as a corporation is putting out? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and the
Like,
BBC are one of the biggest fucking hypocrites there is.
of course,
If you look at the people that ran through the corridors in the 70s and 80s, and you just think, oh yeah, you're not sealing old wounds up by doing this. You're just being
yeah.
hypocrites. And also, I mean, in my opinion, the best episode of Doctor Who ever was Resurrection of the Daleks from 1984. That's my favourite episode, always has been. Tegan's
Yeah.
last story, absolutely adore it. And it's the perfect format. It's the
Mm.
perfect format. It's a group of mercenaries, on their way to blow up a space station with Davros on it, and
Mm.
it starts on the grubby streets of Butler's Wharf in London when it was pretty much derelict, and it
Mm.
starts with police officers gunning people down. You
Yeah.
don't get more fucking political than that,
Yeah, what's not to like? Yeah, yeah.
right? And that's the point. I think I've just hit a point there, right? Like I've had an epiphany.
Good.
Those police officers gunning people down, they were clones, they were aliens, they weren't actual police officers. And you had to think about it. You had to go, oh, police officers gunning people down. A few years earlier, we had the riots in Brixton because of the murder of the black child at the hands of a police officer, and
Yeah.
and that's, but it was so subtly done. Whereas today, it's a brick through the window approach. That's
Mm.
what I find so silly,
Mm.
Whereas you can, if you're a clever writer, I think you could destroy Trump or Amazon or Google or Elon Musk or whoever by just with the glimpse of an eye or the
Yeah,
flick of a hand. You haven't got to make a 45-minute tale of it,
yeah,
you know?
100%. I mean, I get that, but that's classic writing, isn't it?
Mm.
That's good
Yeah.
filmmaking, TV making, writing,
Mm.
um, at its best. And yeah, when it's done badly, it feels clunky, and people. I think it's almost like people's reaction to it is, I don't like this. They might not
Yeah.
necessarily understand, and again, this sounds perhaps condescending, but they might not necessarily understand why they don't like it, but they're not liking it
Mm.
because, yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah.
You
And
know, not necessarily.
Doctor Who has always been political in one way or another. It's
Sure.
always been political to a degree, but in terms of, good versus evil, you know,
Yeah,
um,
and the Doctor is an outside character.
of
You know,
course. Yeah.
he is sort of the lone person that's coming in
Yeah.
and holding up a mirror to whoever he's talking to.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. And they give, and then there's a lesson at the end to be learned, and,
sure.
and, um, but yeah, it was done in so much more of a subtle way.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I'm gonna sound like a right wing gammon, and I'm not at all. I just, I'm very much,
No, I think that
quite
there's
lefty,
definitely sure. No, I no, I 100% agree with you. I think they, for want of a better expression, disappeared up their own arse, and no one has an idea how to resurrect it. I don't think
mm,
at the moment, from purely as a
yeah.
you know
Well,
observer.
Doctor Who in the last 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever, has tried to appeal to a demographic that it didn't need to appeal to
Yeah,
because it would have picked up that demographic anyway. They
yeah,
wouldn't have. Nobody was crying out for less racial stereotypes in Doctor Who.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nobody was crying out for more, wokery in Doctor Who. People
Sure,
just loved Doctor Who. It was as simple as that. And if you
sure.
carried on making the same show that you had with the Eccleston, the Tennant, the Smith era up until now, I don't think there'd be any of this bullshit that's going on now with it.
I mean that yeah, 110%. That's very much always been my, I have interviewed quite a few people from sort of the independent film um, making arena, for want of a better word, both in
Mm,
the UK and US. And yeah, it often gets on to representation. And I ask the question, is it more inclusive now than it was, say, 10, 20 years ago? Um, and I think everyone kind of says the same sort of thing. It's like, it's not that having more, choose your demographic,
yeah.
you know, it's not having more or less people on the screen that is important.
Mm,
It's the motivation behind it. And if it's just a box ticking exercise, then not only does it not work, it actually works the opposite of what it's
yeah.
supposed to be doing. So we need a black woman now as a lead character. That doesn't help more women getting into film and prominent places of making film or TV.
Mm,
It doesn't help a black woman get more role by saying, "Oh, we need a black person." Because as soon
no.
as you've done that, it's like, oh, we've ticked the box. We can forget about
Yeah.
the issue of why we even need that,
But you can
and it
have,
needs to be organic.
yeah. But you can have representation without telling people you're having representation,
Yeah,
because otherwise that just makes you very pious. And
exactly.
and I know it's very easy for us as two white middle-aged,
Sure.
males, to have this conversation. But I've
Hmm.
had discussions with actors of color and so forth, and they've
Sure.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's almost like the BBC going, look what we've done. This this
100%. Yeah.
this person's in a wheelchair. That's
Yeah.
good, isn't it? Isn't that
Yeah.
good? This person's got one arm, and they're of mixed heritage. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Why are you telling us you've done it though? Why are you
Sure.
telling us you've done it? There's that person in the wheelchair, that person who's of mixed heritage, that person with one arm is still a human being, and they could be the greatest fucking actor on the planet.
Mhm.
But you've inadvertently, not you, but you've inadvertently made them feel shit
Yeah.
because they now feel like they're part of a box ticking exercise.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why I really felt for Ncuti Gatwa. I think Ncuti Gatwa was a superb actor. I think
Mhm.
I I feared for him becoming Doctor Who because I felt as though he hadn't quite cut his acting chops enough, in my
Sure.
opinion. Purely because of his age. I think he was, what was he?
Yeah.
He's early 30s now, possibly. Um,
I don't actually know.
no, I don't. But I saw all the comments on Facebook. Oh, he's only been hired because he's black and he's gay.
Yeah.
No, he's been hired because he's a fucking good actor.
Mm.
You know, but that poor sod. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be
Yeah.
reading all those comments, and that's probably part of the reason why he's left through systematic bullying. Through
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, oh, he's black and he's gay. That's why
Mm.
you got him. No, got him because he's a fucking good actor. You
Mhm.
know, but you can't go underneath millions and millions of Facebook comments and go, no, it's because he's a good actor. No, it's because he's a good actor. You know,
Sure.
because he's still going to be outweighed by keyboard warriors that go, no, you've hired him because he's black and he's gay, and it's just ridiculous. And you're dead right. Excuse me, with that sort of box ticking exercise, that achieves nothing. That achieves absolutely nothing. A friend of mine's an actor, and he sends me sheets of demographics that he has to tick, and he's been invited to the audition, and then
Mm.
gets there, and they go, no, we're really looking for a person of color. What the fuck did you ask him to come in? He's a, he's
Yeah.
he's, he's a middle-aged white man. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
and it's really sad, and not that it is the case, but it'll make people feel like that's the case. If you're an actor of color or an actor with a disability, you are now only going to feel like you are there to have ticked a box, not
Yeah.
because you are of great acting stock. That's
Hun-
shit.
hun-
That's
Hundred
shit.
percent. It helps
Sorry, I got
no one.
really on my high horse there, Tom. I
Sure.
just,
No, no,
that
no, no.
I'm going to
Look, I
have to
mean,
drink some strawberry yazoo.
yeah, that the Yazoo will calm you. It's okay because I was poking you to do it, but no, I'm 100%.
Yeah, you've got your
I,
clickbait now.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's what we're leading with. No, but like that's again, that's my point. That's what I'm told by people, and it's just common sense. It's the whole thing with James Bond a few years back, the last Daniel Craig film, and it's like, oh, a black woman is now 007 because she was assigned the
Yeah,
that. And again, whether that's done purely for clickbait or
of course it
hype about
is.
the film or whatever,
Yeah,
but it's no, like, what don't everyone get? The fact that James Bond, the character, whoever the next Bond is going to be, shouldn't be played by a black actor because James Bond is a white character. He was written as a white Scottish actor. It says so. But what you need to do is create more original text, books, screenplays
yeah,
for black characters who
yeah,
are written as black characters. Don't drop a black man in 35 into a
yeah,
role that's been played by a white 45-year-old man. Do you know what I mean? Create new characters, create new
yeah.
superheroes who are
Exactly.
gay and black.
And I
And
think that was the same with Jodie Whittaker's tenure on Doctor Who. I think she's a fantastic actress. I've always thought so. And yet you kind of feel like, oh yeah, well, so we want to get more, female people on board with Doctor Who. Bollocks. Females were watching Doctor Who when it started 63
I'm
years
I'm
ago.
pretty sure
You
they
know,
were. Yeah.
yeah, it appealed to boys and girls. You know, I'm not saying it was a direct 50-50 split, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't far
For what
off.
is? But yeah.
Yeah, and uh, so that's when I kind of felt like you have got, you know, pools and pools of writers at ITV, Sky, BBC that are fantastic writers. You've got the, you know, the next big thing out there.
Mhm.
Create
Yeah.
create the next female role model.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily dip into something that didn't need a, you know, necessarily need the formula playing with. Create something. Create the new Supergirl or the next, you know, Wonder Woman, or for God's sake, it's not hard. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
it's
These
hard
people
to
did
get
it in the
these.
first place.
Yeah, it's hard to get these things put past promoters
Yeah.
and buyers at these production companies. So it's easy for us to say that, but
Yeah.
you know, so they have to hop on an existing property.
Hmm.
But yeah, uh, yeah. I think I'd like another question now, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Um, you mentioned right at the beginning, which feels like a long time ago now. Um, about, and this will be my last question because I don't want to keep you up all night.
No, that's
But we
fine.
we we could go on and on and talk about this, and I'm
Well,
pretty
I've
sure.
got to come back for a part two, haven't I?
Yeah,
If I
I
if I
think
don't get cancelled now,
yeah, sure. Or like picketed by who knows
yeah,
lunatics. There's a lot of them about. Um, you're saying you have created or curated even correct terminology. Your 1,000 favorite film list.
mm.
Um, I'm not asking you to go through the entire list. That's obviously for
Yeah,
episode two. But
yeah.
mention, two or three of your favorite films.
So I mean, my my top five favorite films of all time. Okay, so in no particular order, apart from the last one I mentioned, because that is always be my number one. Um,
Sure.
The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
Okay. Yeah. I saw
Absolutely,
that fairly recently, actually. Yeah. It still stands up.
yeah, it's a brilliant film, and it was. But again, it's one of those films that stuck with me from when I was a kid. So you
Sure.
know, it's just yeah, it's not going anywhere. Um, A Night to Remember, the Titanic film from the late 50s. It's just
Okay.
yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's almost the perfect film. And without that, you wouldn't have had Titanic 1997, or you certainly
Sure.
wouldn't have had, you know, elements of it. Zulu from 1964 with Michael Caine.
Sure.
Uh,
Yep.
just love it. Again, a childhood favorite, which has stuck with
Mhm.
me ever since. Um, uh, Witness with Harrison Ford from 1985.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Seldom talked about, but you know, when you talk to people about it, they go, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, is that the one
Yeah.
where he dresses up in Amish gear?" Yeah, yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Yeah. It
um,
has been forgotten about for
mm,
some reason.
yeah, um, and my all-time favorite film, again from 1985, is The Breakfast Club, and it always has been and always will be, and that's never going to change because I think I saw it when I was about 14, and it massively
Yeah.
spoke to me.
Same here.
Yeah, massively spoke to me. But my top 1,000. So I've got over 3,500 films in my collection. Um, and I thought, right, okay, I'll make an initial top 100. So I made a top
Yeah.
100. Uh, and then I thought, oh, God, maybe I'll make it a top 250.
Hmm.
Nah, fuck it, I'll make it 1,000. My God, you know, it's a weird one because it has to have, each film has to have had something, you know, because you plod along with a film, you're invested, you know,
Mm.
traditionally with a film, you're invested and you plod along with it. And you go, that was nice, that was a good waste of 2 hours, that was, you know, good, enjoyable, blah blah blah.
Sure.
But if it had just one thing in it, one little element, one little angle
Hmm.
that made me think forevermore, and it stuck
Hmm.
with me forevermore, it went in the top 1,000.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and so that's where we're at. I mean, I could see if I can get, you know, I won't read you the whole bloody thing because we'll be here till 3 a.m. But I mean,
I need to revisit The Breakfast Club because I haven't seen that for years.
Yeah, so I just got the 4K of it, and I was just like, yeah, this is still
Again, a
pretty.
sort of film that just wouldn't get made these days.
um, y- I'm going to agree with you. But uh, I'd like to say it probably would get made, but will have an agenda attached to it.
I mean, yeah, 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 yeah,
um,
yeah. You're
yeah,
right. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah. You know, and not be a simple story. But you know, I've got films in here like Arachnophobia from 1990. Just yeah,
Sure, why
um,
not?
yeah. Oh God, what else have I got in here? Bestseller. Bestseller's an amazing film. Brian Dennehy, James Woods, 1987. Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
I've seen that a long
yeah.
time ago.
Oh
Yeah,
God, yeah, that's on there. Big with Tom Hanks, that's in there. Um, Blood on Satan's Claw.
that's a
Uh,
great film.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, there's some newer stuff on there as well. So like Civil War with Kirsten Dunst, which came out 2 years ago or 3 years ago, was absolutely fantastic. That blew
I
me
haven't seen
away.
that.
That absolutely blew me away. Um, Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. All right,
I mean,
yeah, it's
I
shit, but it's great. You
I
know,
always remember like reading like a review of that, and the person said basically, Cobra was Stallone's version of method acting by chewing on matches.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, yeah, it's kind of
yeah.
sums up. There's the weird thing. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on YouTube where the actor that plays the baddie in Cobra, the guy,
Oh
like
yeah. Oh God, I want to say it's Brian something.
might be Brian. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got a really chiseled jaw,
yeah, I
and
see. Yeah,
he
um,
was also in he was one of the punks in the first Terminator film
yes,
with
yeah,
Bill
that's right.
Paxton,
Yep.
and he was in a really shit film with Oliver Reed, which was brilliant, called Hired to Kill. And
Okay.
right, seriously, go and look it up. It's about a group of these sort of really buxom babes, but they're actually all female soldiers. But they
Right.
had to pretend to be models to infiltrate Oliver Reed's compound, who's this mad terrorist, and all led by Brian Redacted, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my
Wow.
god, yeah. Sorry, you were saying about him.
Yeah. No. What
Yeah,
a crazy. I have to find that film.
Hired
Um,
to Kill. Yeah, mad.
no. Apparently, the producers of Cobra whatever forgot to invite him to the premiere,
That's
so
right.
he had to like turn up and buy a ticket or something like that. He had to kind of just go and like somehow get in. I'm in the film, like
Yeah,
no one like invited me,
yeah, yeah.
which I thought was a bit random.
But
But
he's brutal in that though. It is a very brutal film. A lot of people
yeah,
forget
yeah,
that. You know,
yeah.
it's very grim. It's very grim.
You're right. Yeah, it is actually. And again, if like basically if you think about it, by today's standards, it is kind of promoting police brutality. Yeah, it is literally it's like, hey, I'm a police, I've got a gun, like I can do what the fuck I like.
Yeah, yeah. But it was. I'm saying was
Hmm.
it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. You
Well,
know,
certainly from like a UK perspective, because obviously our police kind of don't look like that.
yeah, because our police were the bill, where
Yeah,
they
yeah,
called people a slag and kicked them around a cell a couple of
yeah,
times.
yeah.
You
Like
know,
they weren't driving like
yeah,
a 50s like lowered
exactly, yeah.
um
Dirty Harry had a Magnum and blew people's heads off, and you
yeah
know,
like yeah. Well, what we got were yeah, like the bill or casualty.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. We got the Sweeney. Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. Or if you're really lucky, the professionals.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But but even though the British police were never the professionals,
no,
we never had police that cool,
no, no,
really.
no.
Again, professional. I feel that professional should have been. Well, I was about to say should have been brought back as a film, but it was, wasn't it? Didn't
No,
they?
no. The Sweeney was brought back with
Oh,
as
sorry.
a film.
Sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
With the Sweeney with Ray
with
Winston.
and Plan B, I believe that's his. Yeah,
Oh
believe
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how he was born. That was his name at birth.
That was how he was
Um,
christened. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, that's right. But yeah, but why hasn't there been a professionals like reboot or
Well, no, so in the
rethinking or?
nineties, there was CI5, the new professionals with Edward Woodward.
Yes, that's right.
Hmm. And it
Yes.
was bad. It was really bad.
I don't
Yeah,
remember any of it, so yeah, I
yeah.
assume it's bad.
Uh, it was a bit like Bugs. Do you remember Bugs with Jesse Birdsall? And it was like a mid-90s sci-fi police
Mm,
drama.
don't think so.
Yeah, so that was cult Saturday night viewing. In lieu of Doctor Who not being on the air anymore. So it was kind of it kind of had that budget to it, you know.
Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, Cobra. Yeah, what a crazy film. It's been quite a
Yeah,
few years since I've
yeah.
I've seen that. I might have to dust that off.
No, you need to watch Hired to Kill. Hired to Kill.
Hide kill. Okay.
God's sake, go and watch Hired to Kill. It's so shitly brilliant.
Cool. So I mean, sometimes you just need a shitly brilliant film,
Yeah.
you know? Okay. Well, on that note, I think I'm gonna end it here because I've got a film that I need to go and watch. Um,
Uh,
John, thank you very much for chatting with us. I think we definitely will do a part two.
yeah, sure.
There's still loads we could talk about.
Well,
And again, yeah,
can I just say, sorry,
of course.
the book is available on Amazon
Yes.
in hardback and paperback form. Um, and also the Channel Hopper podcast goes out every Friday at 7 a.m. And I'd love you to head over to Spotify and please give that a like and subscribe if I've now not been cancelled by some of the things that I've not said this evening. Uh,
Sure.
but yeah,
Absolutely. You wouldn't have been cancelled. I'm going to put the links on to both the book and that. Yeah, I feel that we should have talked more about the book because yeah, it is a fascinating read. There's tons of information in here, and yeah, anyone who's a lover of 80s and 90s TV, particularly British film, but there's so much in there. We haven't even got on to Manimal. Yeah, I remember as a kid.
yeah,
Yeah, lots of stuff. Quantum Leap,
mm,
all that sort of stuff. We haven't even talked about that. But I will put a link up to the book and
amazing.
to your podcast, of course. And yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that's really really good. And thank you to all those listening at home and listening to me prattle on and go off on tangents. I don't think I've ever had a sensible conversation in my life. I just go off on rants. You know, you will
That's
sit
what the
there and
magic
listen to me. It's a good thing
Damn it.
I don't drink anymore because fucking hell, those poor people. Yeah.
But no, it's been amazing. Thank you so much.